Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blogger for Inside the OAA, one host between Terminas and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends from Oxford Community Television who is watching us as we speak. You look at what's going on throughout the league. Of course, we had our big football previews the last 3 weeks. We're getting right back in the thick of it. Of course, first day of school started for the kids today. We've had a lot of sports, especially football. You know, there's been a lot of teams that are right now 2-0. Like West Bloomfield's a team that expect to be 2-0. There's been some teams that have not been expected to be 0-2, like Lake Orion Oak Park. So you look at that situation. Got that, and then of course we got volleyball coverage. Of course, is Lake Orion the best team in volleyball right now in the league, but also maybe in the state? I mean, you know, he's got teams like Romeo and Novi in there who went to state finals a year ago, but can Lake Orion be the best team in there? They got a very tough tournament coming up Saturday at Novi. And Novi's a very, very good team in there. And then, of course, got girls basketball news. Of course, the Bello Twins going to Minnesota. Brad Crichton now at Stony Creek. Christine Rogers is new head coach at Clarkston. And Taylor Smith rumors, of course, with her possibly leaving Linden to play alongside Maggie Rogers at Rochester Adams for Coach Shay Lewis. So we'll describe all that today here on the podcast when you look at these type of teams. So you look at week one of the OAA season, of course, the OAA went 2-14. That's not good. I mean, besides their own league members, I mean, when you come into the season, you have a lot of expectations, you know, and then that hurts the entire league when the whole league goes 2-14. The only two wins of the league was by West Bloomfield, who knocked off Dearborn, and Southfield Lathrop, who knocked off Detroit University Prep. Everybody else lost, you know. Everybody else lost. And some of those losses they had were not even close. Oxford was shackled 47-0 by Romeo. Bloomfield Hills was shackled 57-0 by Wall Lake Northern. You know, those were two of those blowouts. So when you look at the league right now as a whole, it's not good right now. The league right now as a whole is not good right now. I mean, and then you look at Lathrop, a team that did beat Detroit University Prep, but they ended up losing 21-7 to Royal Oak last week. And I thought personally Lathrop would be back. I really did. You know, the emotions of Keith Stevens and what happened in that game was just absolutely pathetic. No, actually take it back. It was not pathetic. It was actually a good game over there between Lathrop and Royal Oak. Lathrop did honor Keith Stevens in that game. But you know, for a performance like that, it was not good. You know, you got to give Royal Oak some running attack, a lot of credit in that game. To be a team like Lathrop, who's very athletic. It's surprising that Royal Oak, they snapped that 11-game winning streak, their 11-game losing streak, you know, by knocking off Lathrop. You know, the league Royal Oak's in's not the strongest, but Royal Oak could do some damage this season. You know, Ray McMahon's done a very nice job with that team. You got to give the Ravens credit for going in there and winning in that environment. I mean, and then you look at a team like Berkeley. Of course, Berkeley was shocked by Holly. They were just destroyed by Holly on their home field. Of course, Holly now sits 1-1. Bears are now 1-1 after whooping Pontiac pretty bad. You got to give them Berkeley and Coach Chris McCoy a lot of credit for bouncing back. They sit 1-1 there. It was a nice little exchange between Adams' head coach, Tony Petrino, and Southfield's assistant coach. You know, when you look at that rivalry, you know, I can understand Tony Petrino's frustrations with Southfield's getting students from Detroit or getting them from elsewhere, especially when kind of come up north. I kind of understand that frustration, and kind of boiled over in that game between Adams and Southfield. That game was won by Southfield, 30-17. I mean, there's still no love lost between Rochester, Adams, and Southfield. Really is not. I mean, Adams played well early, but Southfield found the running game. They played very well late. I mean, they exposed Adams in that game. So that's very interesting to say the least there. When you look at the league, of course, there's shocking results. Two teams I'm shocked at starting 0-2. One I'm not surprised. The other one I'm very surprised. The team I'm not surprised starting 0-2 with Oak Park, because you look at the Knights' schedule. It is absolutely brutal. It was absolutely brutal to start the year, and I mentioned that in the previous show. But I didn't mention that I didn't expect them to lose by an extra point to Farmington. I really didn't. I mean, Farmington's a team that sits 2-0, and they got a tough test with Southfield this week. So that'll be a tough test right there, no doubt, to say the least. When you look at Oak Park, the reason why they're 0-2 is because, one, a botch missed extra point, and the other one was an 8-point loss at Grand Valley State to a very good Zeeland West team. I mean, Zeeland West is very good. There is no doubt about it. I think they put up 70 against somebody last week. And then you look at Oak Park. They play Harrison this week. Harrison, of course, they are 1-1 after losing a tough matchup to East Kentwood week 1, and then they just bounced back and whooped Rochester like a government mule. I think when you look at that game, this game Oak Park desperately needs to win that game. If they don't, it's over for the night. I think their playoff chances are over because you still got to play Southfield week 8, Adams middle of the year, and then you got Harrison this week. If you lose that Harrison game, you might as well put a fork in Oak Park season. I'm just being honest with you. It's going to be tough for Greg Carter. But if they can win that Harrison game, Oak Park will be right back in it. If they got to win that game with Harrison, because one of those teams is going to be 1-2, and by the looks of it, Farmington's been playing better lately. Of course, they're not a bad team this year at Farmington, so very unique situation there. Let's look at Lake Orion. I don't know how this team's 0-2. Really don't, And I've watched this team a lot. But Friday's game was perhaps one of the lowest points I've seen in Lake Orion history. When you have people talking at each other, you got the opposition in your head. It's hard to figure out what happened to Lake Orion. The way they lost on Friday to Troy Athens was absolutely despicable. You don't lose on a 3rd and 28, and you get up a 62-yard touchdown pass. Joey Stark's a good quarterback at Troy Athens. He's a very good quarterback. Very mobile. Nobody talks a lot about him. But to virtually see your defensive line get outplayed, your offensive line actually gets outplayed worse than your defensive line. That's not good. When you see your quarterback, Kane Prescorn, get sacked 8 times. 8 times in that game. And you see Keith Fields, your running back, virtually get no running lanes at all. None. And then your defense, your defense looked okay in the first half. But they looked awful in the second half. Really did. This team has had the same problems since 2012, and since the Macomb Dakota game in 2012. They don't pressure. They don't have a shutdown guy who can make an impact, nor do they Their secondary is as good as you think. I mean, they don't have a true playmaker in there. They have a guy that can play it. They just don't have a true playmaker. And that's a big problem. Maybe this team deserves to be owned too, because you look at this Lake Orion team, the schedule is not going to be any easier. They should win this week at Troy. But you're 1-3 at home in the last 4 games. That's not good. And he said 0-2 for the first time since 1991. That's rough. That's terrible. When you look at that record, it's unusual territory for Coach Chris Bell. He's never had this. I mean, the alums, they never seen this. Troy Athens was a team, normally, it was a 14-game winning streak that Troy Athens snapped at Lake Orion's expense because of a couple plays. Troy Athens clearly was the better team in that game. They clearly were. And to see this team virtually play with no heart, no fire, it makes me wonder. Is Lake Orion a playoff team? I don't think they are a playoff team, in my opinion. This is a team that's all talk when you look at Lake Orion. They're all talk. I mean, they don't, and you don't expect results. They don't give you the result that they give you. And it's because, one, I don't know what it is. But this is a team that needs to address its offensive line. Your offensive line is supposed to be a strength of your team. And to see them get manhandled, outplayed, out-toughed, to see Athens do that to you. Now, Athens is a good team. Josh Hepner's done a very nice job of that team. But to see them just virtually torture Caden Prescorn like that, and to virtually see Keith Fields get shut down, you basically made Orion into a one-dimensional team. That is how, you take away the 2 bread and butters, and they're beat. And I don't know what to say. Most of the third quarter of that game, that was played on Orion's side of the field because, one, Troy Athens is the more aggressive team on both sides of the ball. 2, you got to give 2, I don't know if the players knew how to adjust very well. I thought in the first game when they played Chippewa Valley, this Lake Orion team played, I thought offensive line-wise, they played well. They played well. They scored, still, I think it's got to score more points, but now you got questions up front. You got questions who is going to be another good receiver out there. And then you got questions at of course, can your offensive line get better? Because this truly believed right now, this offensive line believed in their own press clinics. And right now, this offensive line is not good enough. When you look at the schedule, this could be a 5-4 team. This could really be a 5-4 team. They have to win a game they're not supposed to win. I know my brother Anthony said it best that this Lake Orion football team has a choice. Now, Oak Park's in the same boat as well. This team, both these teams have a choice on what to do with their seasons. They can full tent, or they can just go in and basically try to win out the rest of the games. Oak Park's schedule clearly is much tougher. But Lake Orion's, you got to look at the schedule they still got. They got to go to West Bloomfield in 2 weeks. You get Oxford next week. That's not a gimme game. West Bloomfield, you definitely know it's not going to be an easy game. Oxford's not an easy game. Stony Creek's not an easy game. Clarkston's not an easy game. for some reason, and you got the crossover still you got to play. This team has got to find a way to at least take it one game at a time. This is a team I think's got a lot of problems right now. A lot of problems. A lot of things it's got to address. And you look at the teams around the league. You look at your feeder schools. You got to look at your feeder schools, your middle schools, and your sub-varsity teams. And maybe they're just not good enough right now. They aren't. And you're seeing the results right now. And this Lake Orion team's going to have to fix a lot of problems. And they've got a lot of problems. It's not the quarterback. It's not the running back. It's your offensive line. Can they pass protect? And your defense, I think you just got to start over with the defense. I really do. Because there's some players I think you seriously need to bench. I think there's some players that I think that need to play. Give them a chance. But I just don't know what to say about this team. I really don't. Especially on the defensive side of the ball. I thought before the season started, before the Lake Orion football preview show started, that this defense would be fixed. I mean, you bring a new coordinator in Brad Fisher. I know it's only 2 games in, but the results are looking eerily similar to what happened last year. It's eerily similar, and it's not good. When you look at the problems that this Lake Orion team's had, they've had problems. This is a team that really needs to look at themselves in the mirror. They need to look at themselves and say, okay, we're on to how do we get out of this mess? You got to win a game you're not supposed to win. You got to really win a game you're not supposed to win. I think they'll be 1-2 by the end of the week. I think they'll beat Troy. I really do. Because Troy's offensively challenged. But you look at the rest of the season. Oxman might have found the running game back after knocking off Stony Creek. You look at Stony Creek, they're always talented. They're tough. They're 2-loss. They're sit 0-2, but their loss has been a combined 9 points. And then you got West Bloomfield, who I think is the best team one of the best teams in the entire state, because you got Tristan Jackson, their quarterback, Nevon Mosley, very good wide receiver / cornerback, Evan Foster. They still got some question at running back, but their line's pretty good. And being in that Maple Forest is gonna be a very tough game. No, it's Swamp. Sorry, my bad. Maple Forest is Seaholm. So, and then you got Clarkson. Of course, Clarkson. They're not the same Clarkson team as they were in years past, but you got 2 very good backs, Nolan Erickson and Nolan Erickson coming back soon, and then they just got an emerging running back, and then you got the crossover, which is not going to be easy. This Lake Orion team's got a lot of problems right now, and they have to address it. They have to fix it. If not, they can miss the playoffs for a second straight year. And a lot of people will start questioning Coach Chris Bell. A lot of people will start questioning. I question them, why would you play Chippewa Valley first game of the year? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That's just my take on it. Why would you play Chippewa Valley start the year? I mean, knowing, you got to play a tough team to start, and, that's for another day. So we'll see what happens this week. We come back, we're going to talk about volleyball. Of course, very interesting dynamics here in girls volleyball here on OAA Now.
Hello, Lake Orion. It's Anthony Taramina, co-host of Between Taraminas. I want to let you know of a new show called History Now. In it, we're going to talk about global, national, and political events that occur in our lifetime. We're going to also have guests and also have co-hosts as well, and also plenty of surprises. Catch us on History Now here on ONTV.
Welcome back to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Termina. A lot of questions. Now we go move on from football to volleyball. When you look at girls volleyball this year, of course, it's still going to be interesting. You know, you still got the top heavy teams in the league, also in the state, and then you also got, you know, some of the teams that I didn't expect. I was surprised Berkeley got swept by Madison Heights Bishop Foley. You know, they got a new coach in there. I know that. But when you look at the teams in girls volleyball, there's still some questions. I mean, like, throughout the league, what teams are going to be very good, what teams are going to struggle a little bit. You know, when you look at Stony Creek as a team that very much intrigues me because, you know, this is a team under Manny Moran's got a lot of expectation, a lot of high optimism. And you know, they struggled out the gate. I mean, they lost to Rochester Adams. Adams is a good team this year. I know they got a lot of experience back. Eric Geiner's done a very good job with that team. But for Seaholm to lose, no, for Stony Creek to lose one of those games to Adams, it's rough, you know, when you look at the situation that happened there. But I think Stony Creek's a better team than Adams. I really do. But we don't know. We really don't know what's going on with Stony Creek, you know, yet. But when you look at the league, I think there's a lot of optimism. You know, I like Troy a lot, of course, led by Hope Keating and Emma Ahern. I like what Vince Muscat's done over there. Troy's a young team, but you know, when you look at Troy, this is a team I really like. You know, this is a good enough team that they have there. Oxford's a team. I know they got a new coach in there. Probably forgot her name, but you could take a look in the blog, in the NCAA blog. But I like their talent. I like Grace Wysocki a lot. I like the young Elzerman girl. She's very good. I saw him play at Oxford. Oxford's not bad. I mean, they beat Notre Dame Prep pretty good. I mean, like, when I saw them play Notre Dame Prep a few weeks ago, they looked all right. They looked very impressive. I really like this. I think Oxford do some damage this year. I really like how they work, how they compete. I mean, this will be a surprise team. You know what I mean? I know the coach. She coaches at the Oxford Middle Schools in the 8th grade. You know, I know her very well. Very good coach there. Very good coach. You know, surprise Berkeley got beat by Madison Heights Bishop Foley. Avondale having a nice bounce back year a little bit. I like their team a lot, led by Alyssa Smith, their center. Bree Blitzer is very good. It got a new staff in there, a new system in there. Avondale's an interesting team to keep an eye on heading into the year. I mean, but then you got to look at that district. Once they get in the district play, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. Now, teams around the state, of course, very unique in volleyball. You got your top team is the Romeo Bulldogs, but you look at Romeo. The reason why in my blog probably a month ago, I said about Romeo was they could be a Macomb Dakota. And of the year after Macomb Dakota won the state title. You know, when you look at Gia Manila is a very good player. She is no doubt one of the best players in the state. I mean, but, you know, when you look at, and of course, Romeo's got a very experienced team. Of course, Stacey Williams has done a very nice job in Romeo. But, you know, you're now the target. You know, you're now one of those teams that says, hey, we're the target on our back. We got a bullseye. Everybody's going after us. You know, and then you look at the number 2 ranked team is Novi, the Novi Wildcats. the team went to state final last year. They lost to Romeo last year. They got a very good team this year. Novi's got a very, very good team. Aaron O'Leary going to Michigan. I'm a little surprised why she committed her sophomore year. A little surprised about that. But Novi is a team I think to keep an eye on, for sure. I mean, I know that they'll probably have to deal with the Farmington District winner coming up. I mean, like, once again, into postseason play. But when you look at the situation over there, and with Novi, Novi's very talented. So is Romeo. But you look at teams always have flaws. You know what I mean? Teams always have flaws. Now, throughout the OAA, of course, a lot of people are saying it's either three teams that are very, very good this year: Seaholm, Clarkston, or Lake Orion. When you look at those teams, these three teams, right now, early on, you have to say the best team right now is Lake Orion. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at the Dragon, first let's go to the Maples first. With Seaholm, you got experience back for Heather Lippert. Very talented team. I like Ann Schendler a lot. Lauren McLeod's back. And then you look at them, and they should be riding with a lot of confidence after they knocked off Romeo at Macomb, Dakota in the semifinals. Clarkston. This is a team Kelly Averill-Pinner's done a very nice job with. Of course, Abby Malinowski's a very good player. There's no doubt about that. Then you got Sarah Austin's very good. Ashley Schwartz, good libero. I mean, you look at Clarkston. They have the talent to go for another run. But if there's a team I think that clearly right now is the best team in the OAA, I'm going to be honest with you, it's Lake Orion. I'm not being biased either. Because here's why. You got a lot back. And of course, your two new additions are huge. You look at Lake Orion. Of course, everybody knows about Corey Varney and Natalie Weiner. Of course, both those girls are very, very talented. Very, very good players. But the addition that Tony Scabata has this year is bringing in the Whiteman sisters, Corey and Lindsay Whiteman. Corey is going to Oakland next year on a scholarship. Both girls transferred in from Waterford Our Lady of the Lakes. And they were part of that Class D 2 trips to the state finals both years. So it's very unique when you look at the situation. That those two girls transferred in from a Class D school to a Class A school. And they're not missing a beat right now. They're not missing a beat. Of course, back to the Whitemans. Of course, Courtney is a player that going to Oakland next year, she's a very, very good outside hitter. I think when you look at it right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be flat honest with you. When I saw her play, I just said to myself, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A lot of people have asked me, is she better than Hannah Murdoch? Hannah Murdoch's not Michigan State. Do I think she's better than Murdoch? I'm gonna be flat out honest with you. Flat out. I think Courtney Whiteman's a better player than Hannah Murdoch. I really do. And that's saying a lot. Because Murdoch's done some great things for this program. But I think Courtney Whiteman, what she's going to do with this program is going to be so impactful that it's going to give Lake Orion another dynamic option. It's going to make them a better dynamic team. I think it's going to make them that way. And then you look at Lindsay Whiteman. Of course, Lindsay is going to she's a junior this year. But what she's done, she's had experience playing both libero and defensive specialists. But she's also played some back row. And she plays some front row a little bit. But Lindsay Whiteman brings a defensive prowess and a libero prowess that's second to none. The reason why they were good, Waterford Lady Lakes, of course, was because of the Whiteman sisters. These two sisters have been a huge impact on that team. And now you put those two girls on a team like Lake Orion, and you got perhaps one of the most, you look at this front row. I mean, my goodness. You got Daniel Sargent, Weiss Herkmans, and then you got Courtney Whiteman on the outside, and then you got Natalie Weiner on the other side. That's as tough a front row you could think in girls volleyball this year. And then, of course, you have interchangeable players like Mallory Behrman to come out there, and she could do whatever, and she can do some things. But then you have Weiss Herkmans, who's a 3-year player, and my goodness, you got so much size in the front row that it's pretty much interchangeable. The only issue that I got with this team is setter. Who is that setter? Do you put in, that's the major question you have. And, of course, maybe Leah Kaluger might play setter a little bit. Maybe. But she's an outside hitter. But this team's got some depth. But there's a huge but with Lake Orion. It's the fact that can this team win a big game? They've won tournaments. They've won major tournaments. But they have not been able, ever since 2011, been able to win the big one. And that is the big league game or the big district game against Clarkston. Now, it could change this year. District's at Waterford Kettering. So, but, the team they have to beat is Clarkston. They have Clarkston at home this year in the regular season. But they lost to them in the district final a year ago. They were swept by Clarkston. I hope the Orion girls have not forgotten about that. And I don't think they have. So, when you look at the league, of course, in 2011, Clarkston won the league title because they went in Orion and won that in 4 games. But when they got into the when they went to Battle Creek, it was Lake Orion that won it in 4 games, and they went to state semifinals and went to state finals. So when you look at, and then from 2012 to 2014, Clarkson's is completely dominated. Now, I know in 2013 there was a controversial call that cost Lake Orion at Clarkson. There was a controversial call. But as long as Clarkson is going to be Lake Orion's biggest problem, if they stand a chance to go with their goals. Now, for Clarkson, you're a little bit down this year, but you're still very good. You're still one of the top teams in the state of Michigan. You still have one of the best players in Abby Malinowski. You're still going to be there at the very end. The district's going to be very interesting because you got Oxford, Pontiac, Kettering, Mott. Clarkson's going to be fine. They're going to be just fine. You look at Seaholm. They're in the district of Birmingham, Marion, and Troy. You got Groves in there as well. And Bloomfield Hills. They're playing at new school at Bloomfield Hills. You look at Seaholm. I think they're better than Marion. Again, I think they are much better than Marion. I really do. Because when you look at the team, Seaholm's got a lot of experience. They have beaten Marion before. They have knocked off a team coached by Angela Coseni. And they did last year at Marion. I think they're a better team than Marion. And I think it's fact. And then the other, you got a couple other ones. You look at where Berkeley, you look at the district at Lathrop, that's very interesting because you got Berkeley, Oak Park, Southfield, Detroit Renaissance, are in that one. And it's tough. It's very, very difficult to say the least. But, that's anybody's district right there. The West Bloomfield Farmington schools with Mercy in there, that could be interesting. I think it's anybody's ball game there. I really do. And then of course you got the district at Utica, which I think district with Stony Creek, Adams, Rochester, Utica Eisenhower. Very interesting district. Utica's experienced, Eisenhower's experienced, but it could be a tough chore. I think Stony Creek's got a great shot. So does Adams. In Rochester this year, I think they're solid enough too under Lauren Duquette. But the issue that I have is Stony Creek and Adams play in a much more tougher league than Rochester does. Utica plays in the MAC White along with Eisenhower. Eisenhower's the defending MAC White champion. Utica finished second in that league. So when you look at the situation there, that could be a tough district right there, especially, but the question is, who's hosting that district? I would suggest Stony Creek host it because I think it makes a lot of sense. But I really like Sammy Salmon. I really do from Stony Creek. Adams has got some great experience as well. I like Paige Chewinski a lot. Paige Zarek, I like her a lot. I think that Adams is going to be there in the very end. I think you gotta give a little bit of a slight edge to Stony Creek, but you also gotta give a little slight edge to Utica because we don't know how the draw is going to look heading into the season. We really don't know how that is going to look as we head into the season. Now, the tough volleyball tournament coming up this weekend at Novi. Of course, a lot of top teams in the state are going to be there. But when you look at it here, I think when you look at this tournament, it gives you a great indicator we're heading into league play. A lot of these volleyball tournaments, they always help. They always get you ready for this type of league play. Very interesting dynamic when you look at the situation there. But you got it. Early favorites got to be Novi because they're at home. I mean, they're one of the top teams in the state. They got one of the best players in the state. But you can't count out a team like Orion. You can't count out a team like a Seaholm or a Clarkson. You know what I mean? You can't count the OAA out. You really can't. And we don't know if Romeo's going to be there because when you look at it, when you look at Romeo, I think Romeo does have a fatal flaw. I really do. Seaholm's exposed that. But if you can, the key against Romeo is if you take the way they play away from Gia Manila, because she's going to be all over the place. You take her away. I think you got a good enough chance to knock Romeo out. I really do. And right now, I think the best OA team that matches up with Romeo right now is Lake Orion because they have the weapons to match up with the Bulldogs. They have the two that can play Romeo well. They have Corey Varney and Natalie Weiner. Both those girls have played with Manila in AAU ball. I think, I don't know if Clarkson matches them up well. They don't match them up well. Seaholm, you look at that game. The libero really worries me when you look at with Seaholm in that matchup. But I think right now the best team right now that can knock off Romeo in the OA is Lake Orion because they can match them up well. They have depth to match them up. They have I think they have the ability to match them up. I think the key is going to be is if those two teams were to play each other, I think Lake Orion's got the best shot because of the depth. I think the Whiteman sisters will be huge in that game. There's going to be a lot of star power in that game. There will be a lot of star power in that game. So we'll see what happens. Okay, now when we come back, we're going to talk about girls basketball. A lot of girls basketball news going around the last month and a half here on OAA Now. Welcome back. I'm Sammy Taramina. Hope everybody's doing very well on the first day of school for the youngsters, and also everybody else going back to work on their long work week. So when you look at a lot of girls basketball news that have been in the news lately, of course, I've been a new head coach named at Clarkston, a new coach at Stony Creek, and of course we've got the news of the Bello twins committing, and also some possible rumors going around surrounding Rochester Adams. So let's go first with the Bello twins. Taj and Paige Bello, both of them committing to Minnesota. I think it's a good achievement for Minnesota. Minnesota's a Big Ten power. But to get both twins, I think is huge for this program where they're at. Minnesota, of course, the last few years they've been down a little bit, but but this could be one of their best recruiting classes heading into next year. So of course you look at the twins now, they can focus on and of course also the commitment of when you look at Kristen Nelson, of course she's going to a D1 school. Very interesting there. So when you look at the Bellows, they've made a big impact, especially in the girls basketball circuit, for Coach Michelle Jackson Marshall. But their mission is still not complete without a state title. And they could win a state title in the final year of Southfield Lathrop. Of course, we remember Lathrop and Southfield are going to merge next year as and form one big school. So that could be that's an interesting drive, interesting motivation for a coach for the Chargers. You know what I mean? Their final year to go after that state title. They got a good chance. They got a pretty good chance. It wouldn't surprise me before the start of the girls basketball season that Southfield Lathrop is going to be ranked. It wouldn't surprise me if they're going to be ranked in top 5. It would not if they're not in top 5. I'd be very disappointed. So anyway, on that, it's interesting news. Of course, the Bellows going to Minnesota next year. Of course, the school where Brock Lesnar's at when we built. I call Minnesota because of what he's done, his successful career, not only in the UFC but also in the WWE. He's had a lot of success over there. So very unique situation over there when you look at what's going on with the Bellows. So, and then of course we got some other news around them. Of course, Clarkson's got a new girls basketball coach, and Christine Rogers. She takes over for Tim Waslick. Of course, Rogers was coaching the team at the Summer League at Oakland. She does have a connection to some of those players, especially Kayla Lugenbach, Kayla Russell. And you look at Clarkson's starting lineup, possible starting lineup. Got Megan Deardorff at the point. Russell probably play the 2 guard. Of course, they got some questions at 3 guard. Of course, but you got Lugenbach and Nicholson possibly playing together at your 4-5 combo. This Clarkson team, they could struggle a little bit, because especially you got to have a coaching transition period, and it's going to have to happen during the year. When you look at Clarkson's schedule, they play almost everybody in the OAA white this year. They play for everybody in the white except Troy. So when you look at Clarkson, this is a team that they could do well this year. They're one of the top. They could be a very good team. But the question's going to be is the coaching and the depth. I just think that there's going to be a lot of questions there. I really like that this I really like what Clarkson did with their schedule. Got to give Dan Fife, the athletic director there, a lot of credit for what he did there. I think Rogers, she teaches in the middle school levels at Clarkson Junior High. She's an 8th grade teacher. She coaches in the middle school. In the middle school rank, she's the 8th grade coach over there at the junior high. So, to keep it within the program, I think it makes a lot of sense for what Clarkson did. Instead of having to go look outside the box, I think keeping it inside the box makes a lot of sense for Clarkston, and I just think that bringing Rogers in will create a comfort level, But this Clarkson team is gonna be a lot different than they were in years past. Of course, when you look at when things got tough, Clarkson relied a lot on Erica Davenport to carry him and rely on her, but now she's not there anymore. She's now at Marquette, and I just think when you look at the situation there, I just think it's going to be it could be hectic early for Clarkson. It could be really hectic early, but Clarkson I think will make an adjustment. I think the players will make an adjustment. They got experience back, but this could be a very interesting team heading into the year, especially at Clarkson with the Red coming in the year, because you got some solid teams in that league. You got Lathrop, Harrison, Adams, Stony Creek, and then you got and you got Oxford coming up there in the league. But I'm really, really concerned about Oxford's season this year in the girls' basketball ranks, especially when I've heard a lot of rumors going around there at Oxford. So keep an eye on that situation as it goes. Another shocking development occurred with Brad Crichton now out at Stony Creek. Of course, Crichton stepping down last month after deciding, his family wanted to get more involved with his family, which is understandable. Crichton leaves Stony Creek with its all-time winning record in girls basketball, 6 district titles, coached some of the best players in Stony Creek history, and Brittany Nelson, Maria Zandy, and Gabby Yerrick. I think those players were very, very talented for Brad Crichton, what he did for them. He created the three-point shot game over there at Stony Creek. Of course, he was known for that. He was a JV boys basketball coach at Stony Creek for a time before focusing on girls basketball over there. But when you look at replacements for Stony Creek's program, of course, they do return Emily Solik, and they do return Lauren Voss, who is very, very Voss, a very good player. She's a very good 3-point shooter. Allie Voss, sorry, my bad. That's the one. Allie Voss, a very good 3-point shooter. She can play well. She plays very well. She got the size. She got the height. She could be Stony Creek's next great player this year, but they've got some size problems, I think, this year over there at Stony Creek. But I think Crichton's assistant should be the head coach over there at Stony. I think it makes a lot of sense for him to go up there and be a good coach. I mean, like he knows how to run that system over there at Stony Creek, and I think this guy can be very, very successful. What he's done over there, you're in a tough league. The Reds are going to be difficult this year. Lathrop, Harrison, Adams, Clarkston. It's not an easy thing. Especially when you look at teams that moved up. You know what I mean? Like with Oxford, of course. It's a little surprising that Oxford would move up, but it is what it is. And North Farmington now down in the whites, so it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, over there at North Farmington, at Stony Creek. But it's shocking to see one of the top coaches in the state leave Stony Creek. You know what I mean? To go over to walk away from the game a little bit. You know what I mean? So to focus on his family, it's pretty much understandable when you look at the situation there. And then, of course, there's been some rumblings. Of course, according to one source, I've got it's possible rumor that Taylor Smith could be heading to Rochester Adams. Now, why it's significant is because you look at the league. You look at what's going on in the league. Of course, Shea Lewis has had a history of bringing in transfers. Of course, last year with Deja Dinkins coming over from West Bloomfield to go play her senior year at Adams, to play alongside Amber Jamison. And Raven Owusu. But you look at Adams, you got Ryan Owusu there, Maggie Rogers there, and Olivia Argross there. Bringing in a girl like Smith, it will help. It will help in a sense because Taylor Smith from Linden, she averages about 18 a game. She's a gamer. She's had some big games in the past. She's had 23-point games a couple times. She had a 25-point game a couple times. She played Lake Orion last year. She had 18 points against the Dragons. But if she were to go to Adams, this is what she'd bring. She'd probably be the starting point guard, because she can play both guard and shooting guard. And then you can move a player like Maggie Rogers at the shooting guard spot. And then you have Ryan Owusu at the 3. And then you have Olivia Argross probably going to be playing the 4 position. And then, of course, you still need to address the 5 position, when you look at it here. Smith would address a problem, but not the problem that Shea Lewis and Adams is going to have. But it is rumored right now that she could be at Rochester Adams right now. And for that, it would be a huge coup for the Highlanders and a huge loss for the Eagles. Of course, Linden only had 8 players last year play. She was one of them. Linden won some games a year ago in the Metro. Of course, they knocked off Holly last year, and then the way they did it was just emphatic. But I can also see why it makes sense is because Taylor Smith and Maggie Rogers, they both play on the same AAU team. I think it's Michigan Storm. It's a Michigan Storm. It's a different type of Michigan Storm team that they play for, and they've had a lot of chemistry. I saw some of their games on Twitter where both of them played very well in spurts at times. So that could be another reason why Smith might want to leave Linden to go over to Adams, to be with Rogers. But there are some other alternatives. Of course, Adams is in a better situation to succeed and win right now, and maybe go far in the playoffs. So maybe this could be an athletic move. Now she would have to change residence. Now, I suspect that this move, if true, is an athletic motivated move. I really do. But a lot of these kids these days are now trying to get by the rules, and I think that transfer rule is being used way too much now because and if it was me, in my opinion, and I know Nick McKay did a very good job writing an article on this, I think that not only you have to have evidence of your residency, and if it was me for the residency theory, I pretty much would say, you know what, I won't play him here. I think that makes the perfect sense. If you want to enforce that rule, you really want to enforce that rule, you're going to have to crack down on it. And I'm not sure if the MHA is willing to crack down on it right now. So we'll keep an eye on the situation, of course, with the Smith situation with Adams. But a lot of girls basketball news going around, of course. The season only starts in 2 months, so it's going to be very interesting when you look at the situations. So, okay, now that'll cover our show for today. You look at good luck to the teams competing this week,
Television,
especially in the Gridiron
media outlet.
Of course,
Learn more about
go out to any of the games
visit our
you want
website
to.
at www.orionontv.org or call us
good
at
action in football.
248-393-1060.
Take a look at my projections with Keith Dunlap, Dan Stickrat, Anthony Terman, and Sean Cotter. You take a look at it at the Inside the OA blog. We're posting it every Wednesday. So enjoy the day, everybody. Stay safe, and God bless all. Good night, everybody.